Has anybody got any projects that they're working on that they have any questions about? Want some thoughts on?
Okay, there we go.
Rick, does that look familiar? Rick, does that look familiar?
Yes, sir.
I thought this was one of the neatest slides, neatest photographs that Rick sent me. It was a project that he's working on. And there's really not much to work with in there, but yet there is. And you'll probably run into atriums like this and all kinds of condominiums and buildings. And if you ever do, here's an interesting way to do this. I actually should go get the shields that I use. I use a fixture by Tech Light. It's a par 38 base. It can be low voltage, it can be 120. But it has a long shield. And these shields are about 1-to-1 throw, meaning if it's 30 feet high, you can have a 30-foot throw, or 30-foot mounting height, 30-foot throw, without seeing inside the shield. Where I would think about doing this, I would imagine you can see the. I can't draw on this yet.
I can use the cursor, George.
Oh, wait a minute. I might have. Don't think I can draw on this. I'm learning it. Can you see this? Can you see this cursor?
Yeah, we can see the cursor moving.
Yeah.
That's me. Just
Okay.
tell me where to go, George, and I'll.
Center, there's a vertical column. There's like a drain pipe center, right there.
Yep.
All the way to the top, somewhere in that area. And if you were coming down straight down to the middle of that area, you can put a downlight there. You could do the same thing on the opposite end. And it's going to light that entire area. If you wanted to, you could duplicate the same thing from the sides and come across diagonally on that. But probably 2 lights might light the entire thing, pretty much glare free. And it's so inexpensive to do that. You'd probably be using a 50-watt LED, 2 50-watt LEDs, one on either end, and it would be amazing, glare free, and light that entire area. So whatever landscaping you put in there would be lit. No maintenance to speak of from a lighting standpoint. And
Right.
I just thought that was a simple way to do it. Atriums are really special if you can get away with it. I'm gonna go get 2 shields. So bear with me.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I want to show them to you.
Anybody else have any other thoughts on what they might do in here if you, instead of that too, like minimal, the approach that George talked about? Any other feelings on, again, I'm sure as this landscape develops, but would you do something different where you get lights on the inside where you're working from the ground, or would you keep everything from washing downwards? Anybody have any thoughts?
I think the highest up you can get and cross lights the best.
Yeah, I think again, they've got, I'm sure there's lighting in throughout each one of these entryways in here. You can see them.
Yeah, they're those old 1970 globes. Ugh.
Yeah, you got those going on too, right?
Oh, what's wrong with those? Those are awesome.
Especially when they're on a posted eye level.
Yeah.
Mark, what about like if you went and took advantage of, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you got about 8 posts on each side,
Right.
and you kind of got some rhythm, and you mounted basically, on those posts, and you get kind of, it would illuminate inside, even though it's, more concentrated on that first level, and it would kind of create kind of a lead in or a rhythm back through it, at least from this view.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. What she's talking, like if we,
Hmm.
let's say you did downlighting or maybe even
Hmm.
like sconce lights or
Sconce
something,
of some sort. Hmm.
something that's going to be off of each one of those posts. That makes sense. The only thing, yeah, if it creates that pattern or the rhythm and starts
Hmm.
to lead one direction. Now that's assuming this is the main view here, which,
Hmm.
again, being that this is a residential type like community where there's multiple viewpoints, windows, each window's its own little view. It might not be so much like where that's leading you to an emphasis or anything. So the emphasis would be still that center area, which is good. So yeah, that would work. And then again, you could easily access the posts, wire cable wise. You could feed up one end and then run along through this right underneath this level all the way around if you wanted. So George, you got those caps you said, or this?
I do, but I want to mention something to you. When you're doing a commercial job like this, you want to make sure that you tell people that this is decorative lighting, that you're not providing, it is decorative security. You're not providing any light levels. You want to make sure that if anybody trips and falls, especially on commercial, that you're not trying to provide code lighting. And you make that very clear because you don't want to be sued for that. And you can be. So, but when you're competing, other people are going to do that. They're going to do the uplights. They're going to do a lot of fixtures in there. And typically, you're going to want to do more around that building. So when I can come in and do 2 lights and do the entire thing, I'm going to get the job. And it's low maintenance. Nobody ever has to mess with it. And that's what building contractors are looking for. They're looking for low maintenance and things that will survive. No one's going to kick anything over. Nobody's going to do it. So when you have an opportunity like that, man, I'd love to help you with it because it's an easy way to do the job and you can sell it so easily. It's just 2 fixtures. Here, go do this. This is the shield. I've got to look at my little, okay. This is the shield. And it's this one's about 10 inches from the short end to the long end. And you want it pretty much flat across the bottom. If you put a level from here to here and here to here, that's about what you're looking for. And at one mounting height, you're standing back, you're not going to see the light bulb, the lamp. And you probably won't even see inside the shield. And it's a great technique. It's a great technique to do that. Any questions?
Who does that shield come through, or what company?
That one comes from TechLight, techlightUSA.com. Hadco makes a composite fixture like that. Greenlee makes one like that. And you can make your own out of any of the low voltage bullets. It's strictly, it's strictly an idea. If you want to talk to me about how to do it, I'd be glad to show you. And the uplight shields are kind of interesting too, which let me hold this up here. This is an uplight shield. Can you see the angles that this is cut? It's about a 1-inch difference from the low end to the high end. And it can be on an MO16, it can be, this is a par 36. The idea is if you can see into the back side of it from this side. From this side, okay, you see inside the fixture, you can see the inside of it?
Yeah.
All right, now you can't. You can tilt the fixture back about 1 inch off of vertical. And you can back the light away from a tree and not see into it at all. It'll make the entire fixture, the light source totally invisible. It's gone. And that's the trick with this. This was really invented by John Watson out of Dallas. Gotta give him credit.
George, didn't you also say TechLight would also actually finish those lights, whatever color you needed?
Whatever color you needed. they'll color match. They do carry white in stock.
Alex had responded here on text. She said, Moon Visions, Dallas also makes a fixture and shroud similar to Tech Light.
Pinnacle Lighting does as well.
Very good.
There's a lot of companies that are doing that. All right, let's go to the next slide.
Okay. Get rid of that. Okay.
Okay, this is showing the same thing. Not knowing the exact length of these, if you did a downlight from the, from the two centers, if you wanted to add to that, you could come a third of the way. And I'm up here, a third of the way down. Yeah, that's the column up high. No, out on the other side, right there where the downspout is.
Yeah. All right here.
Yeah. But on the other
Or this
side.
one.
Well, that'll work.
Yeah.
Go down to the next one, down the next one, and next one.
Okay.
Yeah, you could come here diagonally across to the center and find that same point on the opposite side and go down the other way. And you could right in the center of it. Depends on your budget. But really, you didn't have to do that. And if you're coming across diagonally, I'm trying to give you a direction to the lighting so it all looks like it's coming from, it's not a hodgepodge. And I've got some photographs coming up that'll show you that. Let's go to the next one.
Now, I don't know if these are in your order, George. I just basically tried to lump them based on what I thought were projects.
Okay. Well, this is Rick's project.
Okay.
And this is a great opportunity for doing some different lighting. How would you guys light this? What would you all do?
Well, I like to work with trees personally. I like doing a lot of downlighting as much as I can, especially for walk areas.
But what would you do?
I mean, me specifically?
Any one of you guys, because there's no wrong answer.
Yeah, I think you got some great opportunities for some cross lighting high up down across those walkways from those trees.
You do. Well, since nobody's talking, basically what I would do, where Mark's got that cursor coming right between these two trees on the right-hand side, I put one light in the middle of those two. It looks like there's something already there. It could be a well light, I don't know. I would do a shielded bullet because that's probably going to be ground cover of some type. And I do one bright fixture up through those. It'll light those two trees. On pretty much the tree in the center, there's two trees in that. One's on one side of the walkway and one's on the other. I would do two fixtures uplighting that tall tree about, well, where the root ball starts. As I would be, Mark, go, yeah, a little bit further to the right. That's about it, right there. That's where one would be, and one on the other side, just about the same distance apart. Keep going left. Keep going left.
Here.
Come back.
Oh,
right
on
there.
this first.
Right about there. Yeah. You're just going to do two fixtures there. And that's going to uplight all of that area. And then you're going to go over to the other trees. Yeah. One in the center, right there, right about there in the ground. One just about, come back to the left a little bit. Yeah. All right, go left, left, left. We're going to stay on the ground right there. Left a little further where that plant is.
Yeah.
I take the bush out and uplight that, and about the equal amount on the right side. You're going to do 3 uplights there. You've got that one in the center and come further over to the right. wish I could draw on this thing.
Yeah.
Come right about 5 feet. There you go, right there. See,
Mhm.
if you have one there, one in the center, and one all the way over, it's going to be 3 lights. You're heavily uplighting that. And you're going to punch all the way through to the top. That's one way of doing it, and it's a great way of doing it. And if you only did that, it would be very effective. Now, to change it up, I would still do the 2 uplights out front and the 2 trees on the right-hand side, and the 1 tree in the center would get 2 lights. Yeah, same thing. However, on the one we were just talking about, far left, where it's got 3 trees, I'd probably put an uplight on that small skinny tree in the back, about 8 feet high. I'd probably do that and backlight that and come up into the top of those trees about 35 feet. One coming across the driveway, so about where that red curb is. The next tree, that one, yeah, that one up at the top, come back down across the sidewalk. And then that skinny tree behind the center tree, I'd come across the back of that, across the sidewalk. You've got the sidewalks done, you've got your uplighting done, and you've got a great opportunity to do it. Without any low-level lighting that's ever going to get kicked, hit, whatever. Nobody's going to trip on it. And you've got everything done from the trees.
George, would you try to take advantage of any opportunity for any moonlighting, shadowing coming across the
That's what,
driveway and so forth?
yeah, that's what I'm talking about doing. Are you coming across the driveway too? Yeah, I would. It depends on your budget. And see, this is what you guys got to know when you walk in. What do you want to do? And I was kind of hoping to get some input from you all, what you thought about it and what you wanted to do, and we could figure out how to do it. I was kind of hoping to hear what you all wanted to say.
Well, being that this was the entryway, this is the main entryway. There's a portico to the left there you can begin to see.
Mhm.
And so that's actually a drop-off zone. And so, in my opinion, I would want to make a good first impression. So I'd love to have some, personally, some nice moonlighting coming across there as well. Create some nice shadowing coming through out. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think if you have unlimited budgets, you can do that. But here's the deal. With headlights driving up at night, it's going to show up anything you do.
Right.
And that's why for budget, I was keeping everything on the grass and let people look at it. If you've got more money, yeah, come back and do exactly what Rick, what you're talking about is come back and do some lighting down on the driveway. Absolutely. I'm always so concerned about budget and designing around it. But you're right on. If you can do it, my God, it would be spectacular.
Yeah.
Well, you're right in that I mean, these folks, it's a new management company, new ownership, and they are dumping a lot of money into renovation of all of these units as well. So I'm sure that's going to be a consideration.
Well, if you can get, in my opinion, if you can get get something nice done in a phase 1,
right,
and make that, and that roof would be ideal if you could find a spot up in that tree. Okay, I'm looking at it. Center tree, go left, where the grouping of 3 little trees are. Go left. No, keep going left, is by the picture window. Yep, right, that's the tree. Go up high, up higher, yeah. If you can get in that area, open a space inside that tree where you had about 4 to 5 feet of no branches, and then go through the branches. You could shadow the roof line and make that really pretty. But you got to stand there and figure out that location and see if you can do it. that would be beautiful against against that roof and heavily shadowed. But that whole planet area, that's where I would, because that's where you're driving up. That's what you really see. Now, the other ways to do it, I mean, my gosh, you can come back in there and do it a more traditional way. Just do uplights on the trees and come in and uplight the building, do wall wash on the building. You know, there's so many ways to do this little job. It's a lot of fun. That's why I really liked it, Rick. It was a great opportunity. You could do a number of things with it.
It never would have occurred to me to throw shadowing across that roof, but that makes sense since it's a metal roof. It's not black, so it's not going to absorb the light. That could really look cool.
Oh, it would sell it, and you'd actually get a little bit of, if you're careful, you'll get a little bit of shadowing on the walls
Yeah.
without putting light inside the windows, inside the rooms.
Right.
But that roof, oh yeah, spectacular. And then bring another one from that same area in the center of that tree out toward the sidewalk. And you're working with an angle coming back across. I mean, you keep the same angle so that there's a direction to the downlighting. You come with the other tree, the one that's in the center of the picture, up high on the back side, and come down across that driveway again, that across the walkway. 2 downlights there with a 3rd downlight on the roof. Oh, it's killer.
Yeah.
Absolutely killer.
Yeah.
And I would do the one light that looks like, I don't know whether what kind of trees they are, but where that looks like a fixture there, the one in the middle of that's gorgeous. I do one on either side of that center tree. Even if you only had to watch your budget and do one in the center of this 2 trees on the left-hand side, it's like a triple tree. Even if you just did one, it would still be gorgeous. And just a little vignette like that. Could you add to it? Oh my God, yes. But you do have to watch your shields. If you were coming,
and I think knowing the context. Oh yeah, sorry.
That's all right. You really can't see this. I'd like to show you all how to do it, but why a 2-piece shield is so important is you can rotate the shield. See how you can see inside this? I can actually rotate this so you don't see inside of it. And if you see even that much inside of the shield, it'll be bright white at night. And that's why working with shields and showing you how to do it. I wish we could do a workshop. I'd love to show you because it's all the difference in the world. It's quite a nice technique.
What do you do to the inside of that shield to reduce glare? Do you do anything in there?
Yeah. If it's copper and I'm doing incandescent, a lot of times I won't do anything because it'll go, we have so much salt down here, it'll go dark.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you guys will not be using copper because you're not in high salt environments. You'll be using aluminum. The aluminum comes with a flat black painted interior, and that's what you should do. Always flat black, never gloss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, let's go to the next one. This one's a great idea. Again, I keep going back to code and being careful around swimming pools because certain light levels are required. Make sure you spell out this is totally decorative. But what you could do from, looks like they look like oak trees. If you can get up into one of those oak trees as high as you can, and I'm talking at least 30, 35 feet, with 2 downlights, you could basically light the patio all the way around that pool, the whole entire perimeter. And actually, I wish I could show you the effect of lighting across the pool. makes it, it's like a riser and a step. It makes the wall of that pool dark with the bottom of the pool lit, with the pool lights off. It makes a really beautiful effect. It's quite something. So from that one big tree, you could do two downlights. Actually, come closer. The real
This
big,
one?
yeah. That's a tall tree. If you had a 40-foot ladder, you can get up 35 feet easily. And you can maintain it from a tall ladder and be out 35 feet from the tree and have no glare in the building at all. It would just be strictly effect. You set the shields flat like that. So they're flat across the bottom, one side, flat across one, flat across the other, and aim down. You wouldn't see anything. And it's a beautiful effect. I mean, you light everything. And the trick there, not trick, but the effect when you do it from the same tree is you're going from a lighted area to a darker area back to a lighter area. And it's a natural thing. It flows. And it's even the darker area has light in it, but it's a natural flowing look to it from that same tree. Now there's another tall tree down there. You'd have to look perspective. I don't know perspective from here. Yeah, that tree, you could probably do something else and come forward with it and maybe go back. Maybe 4 lights in that area would do the entire area and really the pool too. And could be a very beautiful way to do something that's really not that attractive. So if somebody wanted you to light that, you go like, wow, there's nothing there. Maybe I'll just uplight some trees there and go look at it, and there you have it. Of course, you would, if you had the budget, add uplights to it. Sure, why not? Keep it very simple. One light in between those 2 oak trees. Why not? One down there, one down there, one down there, and be done with it. With the downlights, it'd be spectacular.
So, and that would create a nice, even subtle approach, but yet still functional. So if they were to decide to put something of a focal point in there, then you would have an opportunity to maybe give that slightly different color temperature just to bring it out.
Whatever, you guys are the designers. That's up to you all. What I'm trying to do is start out with a base. It's just like we're looking at it in the daytime, like the landscape architect and architect were looking at this. They've designed this thing. And they've set this there in amongst the trees. And you're kind of looking at it very naturally. How naturally can you look at it? If you want to add anything after that, please do. What color do you want to do it? How do you want to do it? How bright do you want to do it? Yeah, that's all design stuff. That's what you guys do best. But I like to do that very simple base. Keep it simple, stupid, you know? It's low maintenance. How simple can I make this? How few lights can I use? How low maintenance can I have it? And light the most possible. That's how I win. That's how I win contracts, because other people will, you know, they're very proud of their light fixtures and they'll sell a ton of them. But I make a higher profit on fewer lights.
Yeah.
Because of design.
Nice.
Let's do the next one. Perfect example. Okay, what do you do here? Rick, you have an answer on it, I know. Anybody else?
All right. Well,
Mike, anybody?
Depending on where this is leading, is this just a transition path between areas, or?
It's a service path.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to lead somebody down this. So picking up an element down at the end, maybe it's this tree, and then downlighting in between, or something more soft and subtle and along the way. Create a little interest here and there off of each side, but that's I always like leading the eye to a destination.
I don't know if you could see down at the end down there, Mark. It's kind of small in this
Oh, a
picture.
bridge?
There's actually a bridge back there.
Oh,
So
okay. So that could be part of that. Pick that up as the destination point for sure.
Absolutely. Well, take a look at right over the walkway. Looks where those limbs intersect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, right there. Perfect place for the downlights,
Mm-hmm.
lighting the path from there. Now, this gets to be interesting. I talked about going from a lighted area to a darker area to a lighted area. And you don't want to spend a lot of money back here, but you want to maximize the effect. Well, if you can see what some electrician has done already, they just put a couple spotlights out there aiming right in your face from that big tree.
Right here.
And yeah, so if you go up higher, yeah, even higher than that, go up. Well, that's too far. Stay over here. Stay over, yeah, right there in that area. Okay, if you can get a ladder up in there, and it shouldn't be too hard to do. You'd come back across this, come right to us. That's one light. Okay. Now, if you did another light from there going the other direction, well, that's what a lot of people would do. And a lot of people in my business would do that. And it makes sense because you've got one power. You've got power running that tree. But if you do that, you're going to see the backside of the shield. You're going to see, well, as you're looking at it, you're going to see the backside of that shield. And at night, the backside is going to be bright white. Two ways to attack it. See if you can find another tree further down and maintain the same direction as the light you just put in. You've got to be thinking direction.
Maybe
Or you have a man on the, see, that would work perfectly right there. It would come down. And you maintain the same direction and there's no glare. It's perfect. And it lights a general area so that you've got safety, pathway, you don't have low-level lights to worry about. It's very simple. Say you did not have that back tree. Okay. If you put your assistant, it takes two good people doing this. Somewhere up in that tree, probably where the tree crosses, just above it. Yeah, right there. On the back side, if you mounted the fixture, you have somebody holding it up there. And you mount it so that you can't see the back side of that shield from here. You've just shielded the light source and no one can see it. You follow me?
Yep.
Now, that would be my second, that's the second best way to do it. The best way is to go to the back tree where you have one. Had you not had that back tree, you're going to use it, the tree itself, to shield the direction. One direction, the main view, is always got to be perfect. Now, John Watson lighting was different in that. I differed from him in theory because John would make it generally okay from almost any angle. There was a backside to it, but I would make it perfect from about 180 degrees. And I would pick I would pick my main view area, and I would, in my opinion, blow them away for the main view. The backside of the shields, yeah, the backside, the service side, yeah, you'd see it. Do I always do that? No, but when I can, I try to. So where my main views are, you'll generally see it, no glare at all, no light source at all. Have I confused you?
No, that's good.
Okay. And then you go down to the bridge. Well, that's a natural focal point. How you do that, see, this is up to you guys. You want to do low-level lights? Do you want to put something down in the gully? Do you want to flood it? Do you want to do it a separate color? You want some light beyond it because you want something on the other side of that bridge that'll give you depth, if you can afford it. Do I care about uplighting in any of this? I don't know. See, that's up to you guys. Would it be pretty? Sure. But I may not do it just because of budget. It depends how big the project is and how much I wanted to put forth. I could always come back and they go, God, George, this looks great. I want more. Open your wallet and we'll see. But every time I make a mark on a sheet of paper, it costs money. And I'm really aware of it, and it gets very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So the purpose of that is pathway lighting. Now, can you do it the other way? Can you do it with bollards? Yeah, they may like that. I don't. I'd rather use 2 or 3 lights and have them up out of the way and not have a maintenance problem. The maintenance guy may say, George, nah, I can change the light bulbs myself. I'd rather have bollards. Okay. You have to roll with it. You got to know what you're dealing with. But from a tree lighting standpoint, yeah, that would work great.
And then the other thing again with the bollards, they're visibly noticeable. So then they become more of a pattern. They're recognized and it distracts. People will follow that as a source.
Mm-hmm. I was looking at a video last night. I was lucky enough to work with somebody an architect, John Randall McDonald.
Hmm.
He was an amazing guy. He actually worked with Frank Lloyd Wright.
Wow.
And his work was very Wright-ish. And I was looking at a Frank Lloyd Wright house on YouTube, and I was looking at paths and driveways, and he taught me this, and it's what Wright liked, and it's what John Randall McDonald liked. He kept all the pathway lights or all the wall lights on one side. He would never go one to the other and one on the other side and stack.
Yeah.
He'd never do that. And is it wrong? No. But it's just something that he did, and I picked it up, and I've always done it that way. So just a thought for you.
Okay.
And he was real practical. He says, yeah, why run power on the other side? Just keep it all down on one side. They're just very practical people.
Oops.
Next one. What not to do. Well, so many things wrong with this. It's hard to describe. It's a trip hazard.
Mm-hmm.
It's ugly. It's aimed at the first 5 feet of the tree. They don't care about the rest of the tree, obviously. They do want to blind somebody that drives up there.
And about 7 cars, it looks like.
Yeah. and what's worse, there are pole lights out there. You won't even see what that thing does except the blinding spot that's aimed right at you.
Mm-hmm.
It's when you get involved with this, with a developer, with an architect, and you can go to the landscape architect who really wants to put lights out there. And I got to put lights out there. You need landscape lighting. And you can go to him and say, Mr. Landscape Architect, Mr. Contractor, don't do it. Save your money and let's do it somewhere where we can make an impression. Because the parking lot lights are going to blow away anything that you do out there that's decorative. So take that away. And if, say there wasn't even a parking lot there, obviously, where would you put a light, or actually you do one on either side of the tree and uplight it that way? That fixture with that shield is actually wrong as well. That would be a wall wash shield, and you can shield it from one side. This is where you need this type of a shield. I'll hold this one up again, this short shield. This is where you need something like this to hide the light source under here, but to keep it as flush across so you don't see the insides of the shields. You'll see a little bit from the wrong side. I'd be setting this pretty much like that, almost flat across the bottom. If I put a level across from the low side to the high side, both here and here, it's level across and level across. That's how I'd be setting those lights. You're wasting half of it, yes, but you put one on either side of that tree, and you do it. Now, for that tree, it's too expensive. I wouldn't, the tree's not worth it. What it would cost me to do that, it's insane. But somebody came in there and sold them lights and made a lot of money. And it looks like that. Let's go to the next one. Oh, okay, my house. This is exactly what I wanted to show you. We change out, a good way to make money too. Can you see the down lights? Yeah. We change out the eave lights into a shielded downlight. You can do that with MR16s. You can do it. These happen to be par 36s. This one is a 17-watt par 36, I believe. And I have it tilted, I have the shield tilted, so that when I'm walking up, I am just looking into the edge of the fixture. It lights the entire yard, and you really can't see the light source. You can do some wonderful things with that. And there's a light fixture on the back of that. There's, yeah, right there. Now I have the shield turned in such a way that you really can't see where that light is coming from on the back side. That's a trick too. And it's a wonderful way to do lighting. And I just wanted to show you that effect. And if you just change people's eve lights out and use that as the base of your landscape lighting around their house, you've done them a nice thing. Questions?
No.
So what you're saying is that was one time a spot or a floodlight on that corner?
Yeah. Mhm.
Important.
It was an old Harris flood, an old plastic piece of builder's junk that, puts flood everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you learn how to do this effect, it's something you can do to everybody's house. And they'll go, wow. You can also tell them too of this. You can shield it in such a way and say, look, Mr. Homeowner, if we do this, it will help the police. Because the worst thing you can do is have these floodlights come on, your emergency lights come on, and be flooding some of the police as they drive up. They can't see the bad guys.
No.
You can do a lot of good things with just something as simple as that, and we do a lot with that. We'll actually do the perimeter of a house. We'll change out, especially 2-story houses. We'll change them out to that, and it's a beautiful look.
What's a company you lean on for that type of fixture?
What company would I use on that?
Yes, sir.
That's a Tech Light USA fixture, but Hadco makes them. If you got any questions, just I'll get you a list if you want. Just email me. There's
Okay.
companies that make those. I go to Tech Light because it's easy for me, to be honest with you, and they're 2-piece shields. Pinnacle Lighting, the lighting companies from Dallas. These are all coming from the John Watson people. John Watson invented this. This is his invention. And actually, the way John did it, he started experimenting. He was a landscape architect, and he started experimenting with tin cans and how to shape and shield fixtures out of tin cans. We had a couple of landscape lighting people down here that were coming along at the same time as Watson. And actually, there were 2 people. There was, no, doesn't matter. They're long gone. But they came up with shielding ideas too. People were experimenting with it. And it started with coffee cans and cutting them by hand. In Bali, in Indonesia, I was working there. They were doing the same things. Now, what they did, and I had to do a Balinese compound. And what we actually ended up doing was duplicating their effect. We would, and that was to buy clay pots and cut the clay pot, the bottom out of the clay pot, and shape it like a shield. So it looks like the pot was in the yard and light would be coming out of the pot.
Nice.
And we could hide it that way.
That's
But
really interesting that you bring that up, because I've done something real similar to this, but I've used, I don't know if you've ever seen these concrete test cylinders for
Yeah.
concrete test. Once they do
Yeah.
a pour on site, they've got 6-inch, 10-inch cylinders, and you can go and cut the bottom out of those. You can cut any angle you want on it for your shroud or your shield and play with light angles that way.
sonotube, yeah. Yeah, and that works great.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go to the next one. I wanted to show you guys this one. It's overlit. Yeah, I know. It's intentional. These are MR16s. These are 2 7-watt MR16s. It's symmetrical. This is outside of a dining room window. And this is the only thing they can see because the inside of the house is lit, the windows are tinted, and this is on a dimmer. And we did have to dim it a little bit, but you can see the 2 shadows and where the 1 shadow comes in the center. And it's meant to be seen from the left side of this image. I took it from right. And just simply how to do something so simple as that.
Nice.
No point to it. This next one.
Okay.
Are those lights up on the eaves of the house?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, this is a cool one. This is one that we can talk about. That's a boxwood hedge along the house. That real low hedge. It's only about a foot
Oh,
high.
this right here. Yeah.
Yeah. I cut in fixtures in that.
I can see here.
Now, the way we did this, this was a bullet fixture here on the column going straight up. You see a little bit of the amber color on the far right, Mark. Yeah, right there. There's a little bit of an amber color.
Mm-hmm.
That's because I didn't paint the inside of the shield. I knew it would go dark. But that's a bullet fixture going up the top. It's a 6-watt MR16, 60 degree. These are 60 degree lamps. I'm using, this was a Pinnacle lighting thing that they had. It's a rectangular wall washer with a little lip on it. The high side from the parking lot, from the driveway. And with a 60 degree MR16. And we were trying to get as even a look on that house as we could. I could only get 14 inches away from the house and even closer into the green, the green area. It was really a difficult thing. And we were uplighting this. Now there's another trick that you're not seeing. I hope you're not seeing it because it is a trick. There would be a dark spot on the house over, see where the front porch is with the roof? And there's some shadows up over top. That is coming from where that green area is. That's a bullet fixture that I'm shining up through there. So I'm trying to eliminate the dark spot going up. The whole thing with those wall washers is a trick. And I'm using black paint. And I'm actually using electrical tape on the back side of these fixtures to show me where the hot spots are and where I can take the hot spot away. I'll tape it, find the hot spot, remove the tape and block off. Well, I'll paint it. I'll actually end up painting it with black paint. And we get a very soft look all the way across that house. It's an interesting way to do a house.
Nice.
Just a question, George, inside those windows, it looks like there's shades, is that correct?
That is correct.
So the frames appear as though it's casting a shadow onto the shade. Uh, if those shades are up, is it gonna create some light coming in those windows?
Yes. Yes, it does. But it is not direct. We move them away from the center. We didn't use the center of the window as a point. You can see the hot spots on the shutters.
Yeah,
Right.
here.
We had to. The client liked the look, and by the way, this was on a dimmer. This was on a computerized dimmer. We had them dimmed at 80%. So it was not terrible. We talked about this with the client. And they said, look, if you walk over to the window and look down at it, yeah, you're going to see it. It's like if you walk outside and look up at the sun, you're going to see it.
Right.
You know, they had lamps on inside the house and nobody was sitting right close to those windows. And they were sheared anyway. They didn't want people looking in. That was the 2 living room windows. Okay.
So the trade-off for them was worth it.
Yeah, the only problem we actually had with them was further down. See that green wall all the way down where the big hedge is?
Right.
Yeah, by the way, that was an instant hedge. There was nothing there. They actually grow them that big. They plant them that big in Palm Beach. God knows what that costs. But that was that's their kind of a TV room at that end. And we had to really reposition and play and cheat to get that looking good. And never did get it exactly what they wanted, but I was able to pull it off. But it was a lot of work.
No, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's an interesting way to do a house. But the whole trick to this thing is well, it's being able to not have light and dark spots. It's hands-on, and well, I guess the way you do it, you have to learn masking. And you're masking off parts, and I can even show you with trees. I'll tell the assistant to go out and say, okay, now put your finger here, or stop, put it on the edge of the lens, and you can start seeing where the hot spot will be and go away. That's the area you want to paint with flat black paint, which we call filter paint, by the way. We'll use high temperature barbecue paint and feather it right in. And it takes the hot spots off and it gives you an even glow all the way up through the building.
I like the warm color temperature at the entryway as well. Is that from the light and the ceiling?
Yeah, now see, now the decorator on this house I work with, we've done a lot of projects together. He only uses incandescent for outdoor lights. That's dimmed incandescent, and that's what gives you that warm, creamy glow. The rest of the house, I believe, was 3000 K, but that was way down there. That was, dimmed incandescent, 2500 K probably. And it's a great look. Even the inside of the house, the client preferred the old incandescent lamps. They liked it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
God knows how many. Let's do the next one. Okay. Here's what we can talk about. I thought you guys would enjoy this one. I had one tree, and you can see the sconces, the pendant lights underneath the arches. We turn those off, obviously, but we can balance this with the incandescent, and they are incandescent. And the light spilling out of the windows here on the left, it looks very old school. It's a contrast. These are 4,000 K and 3 downlights, 2 uplights, by the way. That's a bigger sea grape tree than you might think. I crisscrossed lights up in that. I'm up. You can probably see where. I don't know if you can actually see. Yeah, you can see the fixtures. Go left, same height. Go left. Sorry.
Right.
There's one there and there's one on the other side. One's going one way and one's going the other.
One's going up that way.
Yeah, it's inside the tree doing that.
Okay.
So, you know, from the low level, you're not going to have, the guest is not going to be able to, they have tables out through here. And this is all on a dimmer, so they can do candles on the tables. And they can set their own mood. This is full brightness on it. And then 3 downlights. That gives you, actually 2 downlights. They're doing the whole thing.
Oh.
Now,
So the crisscrossing through the branching structure also obviously brings out the branching structure, but also cancels out the downlight glare on the branching.
exactly, and that's why. That's why. So you can see, yeah, where you've got, Mark, where you've got the cursor, that's
Yeah.
one downlight that direction, one downlight coming across this way. Yeah, and then one over there. So there's 3 downlights, I forgot. But it's an interesting way to do it. When you only have one tree to work with, there you are.
Yeah.
Did you have to do a lot of pruning?
Not much. In this case, it's a sea grape. The sea grape leaves are almost like thick cardboard. And it loses its leaves pretty regularly. It's kind of a mess. And the ocean is only 100 feet away from that tree. We've actually had refugees coming up into the property from the ocean.
Wow.
Now,
We have those all the time down here.
yeah, you have. We used to be able to do something about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We get the Haitian ones. You know, the Haitian national anthem now is row, row, row your boat.
Well, one of my employees calls himself a whiteback.
Ah, jeez. I know. Yeah, the old joke was, you know, why are they? You say to the Haitians, say, why are you so dirty? You need a bath. He says, well, we'd rather wash ashore. Bad. Let's do the next one.
All right.
Okay. This is what I really wanted to talk to you guys about too. Do you have an idea how I'm doing this?
Well, are you talking about the shrub on the left or the shrub line, the hedges on the right?
The whole shrub line on the center right. Obviously, the one tree, there's an uplight in that tree. Okay.
Cross lighting in the foreground.
Yes. The trick is, and where you have that cursor, Mark, put that cursor down a little lower. There you go, to the right, keep coming right, right along that hedge line. Yeah, right there, there. Okay, you see the little hot spot of light right there?
Yeah.
On the grass? Well, on the grass. Okay. This little trick, there's only 2 lights that are doing that entire hedge. I'm projecting light onto it without light getting on the grass. There's only some ambient light on the grass. It's not by design. And what I'm doing, I'm taking this fixture with this shield. Let's see how I can do this. Okay, from the main area, I'm turning it almost like this. And that is that little line that I was talking about, that little line of light. if I could have turned that a little more, it would have taken that away. Had I done that, it ruined the effect. It would have made it too dark on the bottom. That was like cheating. But I'm actually turning these shields backwards, putting a lens in this, and creating that effect. And it's a wonderful thing to do. It's just a projection, and you can light a tremendous area. That's probably it's probably 60 feet of hedge.
Hmm.
And it's done very even.
Wow.
Okay, and the light is actually coming from, you can't see it from here, but it's in that tree on the left-hand side. It's about, well, yeah, there's a little hot spot down below. No, it's further over. Right, it's on that limb. You just had it right there. A little, yeah, right up a little higher. That's where the fixture is, and it's lighting. That's the one lighting that side.
That's washing up.
Just doing that. And this is a little theatrical trick. And the other one is on the right-hand side. You can't see it. It's in a hedge. It's only about 2 feet high in a hedge. Yeah, over there. And come down further. Down lower to the ground, lower to the ground, lower to the ground, lower to the ground, lower, lower, lower. Yeah, it's about there, just to the right, maybe 3 or 4 feet. And it's projecting across all of them. So it's 2 fixtures doing a lot of work. Can you use that for lighting all those photographs that we've looked at before? Yeah, absolutely. And that was the old way they used to do it here in Palm Beach. They used to do a lot of projections like that. And they would turn the shields so you wouldn't see like the streak going across the lawn. And you wouldn't know where it was coming from. It's a great way to do a lot of lighting for a little bit of money. It's quite a trick. Oh, the other thing you do too, where you can't see it, you drill a couple holes in the bottom of the shields when they're set, so that any water will drain out of them a lot easier. Because it'll tend to scoop up and fill up with water.
As far as lighting the internal part of that tree on the left, George, how'd you go about that?
I was able to put a light inside the tree. It was a big enough tree where I could light the inside, make the inside glow and the outside dark. And what you're seeing, where the brighter light is coming across from the left-hand side, that's actually coming from a tall palm tree across. Yeah, there's a palm tree that's doing that. But the uplight is inside that tree.
Nice.
And the trick is balancing, you know, I'm using black filter paint. I'm balancing the light inside that tree to match the same light levels as what I have for the backdrop. You know, you're not just, you're looking at the entire scene and balancing those light levels. And I'm doing that with flat black paint. Any thoughts? Let's go to the next one. That's a fun one for you guys to try though. And you can do that with MR16s. You can do it with PARs. You can do it with anything. But you need a fixture that's going to really spread light.
I guess the only thought I have is if you're trying to separate, let's say, this back hedge line from this palm, this larger tree here, you know, then that's where maybe see how, because if it's all the same wattage or you know, it starts to blend together in essence. So if you're trying to separate those, how would you separate that if you wanted to do that more, George? In terms of, would you try to highlight these more with separate sources? Or, and again, you're just working with minimal fixtures here, I understand.
Yeah,
But if you're trying to create that depth, that separation between these two layers, let's say this is the midground and that's the background there,
Mhm.
what would you try to do there?
well, I would probably prune that palm cluster open from the inside. And I would do two uplights inside that palm cluster, and they let the outside be dark and the inside glow like mad.
Hmm.
I don't like, a lot of people would put well lights out in there and uplight the tree from the palm from the grass. I don't like doing that. I don't like seeing the source.
Mhm.
But is it wrong? Hell no. It's just something I don't like. I'm more natural, and I just like a very soft look to these things. It's lit, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a focal point, it's the absence of it. The focal point is itself.
Mhm.
And you're actually driving by this in a car. This is a view from the side of the driveway looking down toward the house.
Hmm.
If you can believe it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good. That makes sense.
Yeah, would it be a great place to put a sculpture? Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
you put a piece of artwork out in there. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You could actually carve it. You could actually carve, instead of putting it in the middle where those palms are, you could go to the right or the left of it and carve in a little niche in there and do something without even putting it in the lawn. It's just so many things you could do.
Sure.
Hmm.
No, but I like that. It'd be making it, if being that you're blending it together, it's a transitional zone, then that makes more sense. It's not, you're not trying to create a focal point in essence of an individual piece. It's the whole area. It's just part of it. Yeah.
It's the whole, and I'm doing it with two fixtures. It cuts cost,
Mhm.
maximizes the design, two fixtures. Is there
Gotcha.
another way to do it? Oh my God, I could have gone in there and uplit all of those trees individually.
Mhm.
You could spend a fortune in.
Sure. Right. No, thank you.
That's the difference between a lighting designer and a fixture seller, isn't it, George?
Yeah, and that's where lighting designers will maximize their profits. You can make more money with your designs and by selling a design rather than concentrating on, look at my beautiful fixtures. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's how I did it.
Deal.
Let's go to the next one if you can. Ah, okay. Here's a neat one for you. As a matter of fact, this was that house that had the two-story thing with the boxwood hedge. This is their pool. It's a two-layered design. We use the same fixtures along that hedge. And we're trying to give an even look, a very manicured Palm Beach look, all uplighting, no downlighting. And it's just, how even can you make it? And these are on 4-foot centers. I use those 60-degree MR16s in the little rectangular wall wash fixtures. They have them everywhere. Everybody's got them with a frosted lens on a dimmer. And there you have it. Now in the foreground, what's causing the light on the grass? There's two downlights from a tall tree. I'm just washing across there. But the effect I wanted to show you is how simple and how beautiful you can do this incredibly evenly and sustainably.
It appears as though you did catch a pot in the background or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Slight focal
Now
point.
that's highlighted. Yeah, that is. And by the way, those urns, he said were antiquity, Roman, like, 2,000 years old.
yikes.
Yeah. And then the orchids in there, they ruined everything because the orchids stood up bright white, you know, it's like, can't we cut these things down? No, they're orchids. Okay, thank you. I get ridiculous.
So it
Yeah,
looks like you caught a little bit on the palms in the background, maybe on a side light.
totally by accident. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, totally by accident.
Well, I like it. It looks like it just kind of a nice brush stroke there. I thought it looked nice.
Well, it's something, if you run across something like that and you want to try it, do a trial. Set the lights out 4 feet, 5 feet apart in the foreground. Just just sample it yourself and see how even you can possibly get this. You can even use the 90-degree MR16s and say which, you know, what makes this look the most even. It's a look that most people haven't seen, which is why I did it. There's
Mhm.
nothing in Palm Beach like that.
Nice.
And you know,
Very cool.
but you can do that. Let's go to the next one. Dominican Republic. This is what I've been trying to tell you guys, top of a 40-foot ladder. And you know, it's so easy to do, whether you have oak trees, palm trees, whatever. It's a shielded bullet fixture. It's done the same way we're talking about it. Downlights, you have a direction. That's right on the beach. Very survivable. And then you start talking to the clients about candles. And that's how you do it.
Mm-hmm. Now, what color is that you're working with there? Is that more of a?
That was a magazine article.
Oh.
It's not as true a color. I was typically using, I think 4000K, and then coming in with incandescent. It was really creamy on the inside. These were very warm candles all the way down. They really messed up the color. So don't let the color.
Well, I was wondering if the downlighting applications kind of just cause the warmth of the candles to kind of become more cooler in this just from the downlighting. I didn't know if that impacted it or if it.
Yeah, that's just a magazine, and
Oh, okay.
you know they were trying to be effective and they weren't. But it's the idea, it's the concept I wanted to show
Yeah.
you.
I think the other thing I like about, see, the candles give the illusion that they're creating all that light in that area, even though it's really the downlighting.
That's
Yeah.
exactly it. And we kept the
Kind of-
inside. Each of those huts are dining rooms. They're individual dining rooms.
Wow.
And you rent one of those huts and for your party.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually, at that time, it was owned by a restaurant in New York called Le Cirque. And Le Cirque was managing this. And the main restaurant was just beyond it, but these were these little casitas. So they were very warm on the inside. And I remember now we did a daylight look on the outside. And we had 1,000-watt metal halide fixtures lighting the ocean. The concept is what I wanted to show you.
Yeah.
Let's do the next one. Okay. Okay, you may get the chance to light buildings. This is a little brighter than it typically was. How do you do it? Well, trial and error. You're doing it the same way as you're doing that pool, the hedges on the pool. You're using the same type wall washers, except you're using, these were 400-watt metal halide at that time. The idea was to light the trees, the building, everything together. Maybe get a little shadows on the building, and we did a little bit. We got back far enough, probably 20 feet from the building, 25 feet maybe, and did a perimeter of it. And this was the effect. Now, where do you aim those lights? You aim them at the top of the building. It is even a little bit hot at the bottom, but you're aiming it, you're wasting half the light. You're aiming it at the sign up there. And that's what creates as even a look as you can get. You're not aiming the center of the beam toward the center of what you're trying to light. You're aiming it at the top. The metal halide fixtures that we used were as inexpensive as we could get our hands on, because the contractor was buying them. He was saying, George, I don't want to spend that much money, but I want to make a splash. Well, the fixtures, they were just a very soft, cheap metal halide flood. They didn't even have a shield on them because we didn't need it. It was all going to be on one side. The building wasn't going to be used at night, so we didn't care. And the spacing of it was done like that. But you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. You're looking at almost 20 400-watt metal halide fixtures. Of course, that was done back in the 1990s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we have.
Oh.
You can do that today with metal halide so easy, it's ridiculous. And do a better job. But the trick is aiming. Where do you aim the fixtures? And that's what I wanted to show you. You aim at the top. Waste half the light. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. You've got to check your beam spreads. Okay. We've got to have it so that the baseline of those trees, the bottoms of those palm trees were lit and the bottom of the building is lit. You can't raise those fixtures up to the top and have the building float in midair. You've got to have the entire project lit, but those fixtures need to be aimed up high at the roof line. You need a wide beam spread to do it. Any thoughts?
No, that's awesome.
Beautiful.
How would you light a building that was reflective glass? If you had palm trees in front, or trees in front of a reflective glass building, how would you do that? See you, Robert.
Bye, Robert.
Silhouette.
If you had a glass building that was reflective, how would you light that? If you had a tree in front of the glass, it's a glass reflective building.
So if you come up behind it and do a silhouette,
You would, but you'd also light the front of it. You'd have to light the front and the back. Because if you put the light behind it, the silhouette, it's going to reflect on the glass.
Yeah.
You're going to get an image on the back, you're going to get the silhouette, and then you're going to light it from the front.
That makes sense.
People forget that.
Mhm.
And the way you set your shields, it's always from the front. And you're always turning that shield so that you can't see it from the street. You're always selling what you're doing.
So by putting the fixtures on the front, that's where you create your balance.
Yeah, but most people would only put it on the front. You need to sell the backside. So the backside reflects back to you. You actually see the reflection and then you see the front. The backside, you say, well, nobody's in the building, so we don't care about that. It's going to reflect back. It's a mirror.
Correct.
That's fun to experiment with if you can. Let's do a next one because we're getting a little long. Okay. This is strictly uplighting. This is bullet fixtures. This is out in the middle of nowhere. Now, these trees, these pine trees, you know, they're 50, 60 feet tall. I'm lighting them with 2 shielded bullets, and they're 50 watts each. It's a commercial project. You want to light the opening, the entry. Strictly uplighting. The fixtures that you can see are well lights along a path, and they're out in the middle of the grass. But this is what you can do with strictly shielded uplights, and you're shielding from the main side. Nothing difficult about it. You're far enough away from the trees where the trees look even. Same as lighting that building. You're wasting half of the light. Your light is going all the way to the top. So the top of the tree is the same light level as the bottom. That's what you're trying to do.
George, you said there's no downlighting here, but I see over to the far left that grass is lit and over the far right as well. Is there no downlighting at all?
No downlighting.
So that's reflective off the tree?
Reflected off the trees.
Okay.
Wow.
But you're using 50-watt LEDs too. And you see, look, off those shields, I'm using a longer shield on those uplights, on those bullet lights. I'm using something like this, okay? You're getting light reflecting off the inside of that shield, and that's what's pushing it forward.
Okay.
Okay.
I like how you offset the entry arch there with that warm white or the warm color versus all the cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And there is some downlighting over on the left-hand side, but for the most part, this is just plain old uplighting. But it's done in such a way that it's people ride by and go, holy crap.
So on the uplights, are
You're
you?
gone? Okay, you guys are gone? Okay,
Oh, yeah. Kara and Alex had to leave. So,
okay.
yeah.
Let's do the next one real quick.
You might only have a couple more here.
Okay, yeah. Again, same effect, very even across the back. Let's go to the next one. You've seen that idea. Keep going to the next one. These are MR16s. These are 7-watt MR16s in the foreground, in the middle of these clusters. It's done from the grass.
I love those palm trees in Florida. Man, those are so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, it's really neat. You go back to the house, the hot spot on the wall is from the uplight, but you're catching the palm trees. And then there's a tall palm tree on the right-hand side that I'm washing across the lawn. It's a very simple design. So you're really only doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lights.
Wow.
Go to the next one. We're almost done. Oh, okay. This is important. It's like that very first slide we looked at, the very first picture we looked at tonight. Between the two trees that were on the right-hand side of that picture. Look, I'm lighting in between those palm trees. I'm not directly on those palm trees with lights. And the light fixtures I used were 25 years old, and I couldn't really move them. But the trick is to be in between of these of what you want to light. And there's no streaking, there's no hot spots up the trees.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm explaining it properly or not, but I'm in the middle of those trees, not right on it. And every electrician in the world is going to say, light that palm tree. Okay, I'll put a light right in front of it. Well, you'll have a hot spot right up the streak of it, right up the center of it.
Mm-hmm.
This stops that.
Yeah.
Next one, well, almost done.
Oh, this might be the last one.
This might be the last one. Just a day-night picture. I just wanted to show you.
Cool. Beautiful tree.
It's an incredible tree. And there's orchids hanging down. I hit my head every time I go there. There's about 100 orchids hanging out of it. But I wanted to show you how you change the perspective from the nighttime to the daytime. See how big that tree is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't light the entire tree. Well, I could. But, I didn't want to. I did the inside. I hit the structure of the tree. Did a little bit of pruning, and those shadows. And from that dining room table there in the foreground, there's only one chair you can actually look up over your head and be annoyed by the light. But if you're looking straight ahead, it's not bad. But just a day-night thing, and there you are. no pool light.
Yeah. Dramatic. I like it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any questions? I mean, any thought? And by the way, I'm always here to help you guys.
Mhm.
Anytime you got a question, you just feel free to email me. I'm glad to help.
Yeah.
Fixture selections, how you do things. That's what I'm about. And I'm glad to do it.
Thanks,
That's
George.
awesome. That was great. Thank you, George.
Oh, you're so welcome.
George, you're awesome, man. Really like it. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Think about this too. Think about putting these larger fixtures, maybe 10 feet high, 8 feet high, 10 feet high in a tree. And when you can, aim them away from the main view. Create that billboard effect where nobody's going to see you in the background where you can. See if you can light large areas. Just go right or left, take 2 fixtures and go, just blast with it. You can do so much with just 2 little lights. And that it's an interesting way to look. You can also do it the same thing on the ground. And that was the point of those 2 fixtures I wanted to show you in that little area that we were talking about. That just, saying, where's the focal point? Well, really there isn't one. It is what it is. From the ground, get up about a couple feet behind something, tree, a rock. Get the homeowner to plant something there for you and hide them. Turn the shields so that you get that hot spot up off the grass. So you're going to get, so it goes, the light source goes away. Here's the light source. And it goes away.
Mhm.
Just that much of a turn, you can shape what goes across the lawn and stop it altogether. And the light's just invisible from nowhere. You can light all kinds of areas like that. It doesn't have to be a big fixture. You can do it with an MR16 too. And that way you have to experiment with it. But that was kind of what I wanted to show you tonight, to kind of give you that concept. You can light some really large areas.
Very
And
nice.
it's like magic.
Oh, great stuff. Thank you, George.
And you're certainly welcome.